everyone, you're all very welcome along to Series 4, Episode 8 of Champ.ie's Road to Cheltenham Challenge, brought to you in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse and Syndicates.Racing. Talking all things Cheltenham, the top performances over the 7 days, and answering your hashtag big questions every Monday. Barry and Ronald will once again go head to head by giving one Ante-Post selection each week until the 2024 festival in March.
Heel Atlantic, Patrick Mullins, Far Fox hasn't gone away for Jamie Codd and is edging up on the inside, and it's Far Fox waiting down the long time leader Heel Atlantic as they go towards the line. It's Far Fox the winner from Heel Atlantic in a good buckle up the straight, well clear of the third shooter's glory.
Showing over 44 points profit from 132 point stake since 2020, the Champ.ie Road to Cheltenham Challenge show is this season bidding to secure 4 years of Ante-Post profit in a row. The lads look forward to discussing your Week 8 selections, and don't forget it's important to update your full Ante-Post portfolio in the comments to help us keep track. Give this video a like for more Cheltenham content, and be sure to subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast. Enjoy the show.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Welcome back to episode number 8 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge with myself and the Doyle and Groome, proudly in association with Gowran Park Racecourse, Boylesports and Syndicates.Racing. Cannot wait. We're building up, of course, to Tayeste's Day rolling on the 25th of March. Cannot wait for that. But in terms of clues this week for the Cheltenham Festival, not so many.
No. Sadly not. It might be a short show if we were completely relying on that. But I suppose the obvious area was Naas. I was down there myself on Sunday. Very disappointing, very unfortunate situation, I suppose. We were monitoring the situation all morning from home. Decided to obviously drive down. We knew racing was on, and then it gets called off at the first race. It's very frustrating, but I appreciate it's a big knock to Naas as well, and they just wanted to get the racing on. But as I said, you'd hope that they were doing it in good faith, that they thought that racing generally, the fog would have lifted and that, and they weren't taking a chance by calling it on and then have everyone come down. Obviously, other people drove further than I would have drove, and I heard people walking out came from the likes of Mayo, Galway, even up from Kerry. I heard one Kerry kind of Cork accent there as well. So, yeah, just not. At least the meeting's going to happen on Friday, so we can look forward to it then. And the race is obviously a really good one, the Lawlers. So we'll get it. We'll still get the racing happening. It's just frustrating for everyone on the day, I suppose.
And in relation to, of course, Goff's Tayeste's Day, we look forward to having, of course, Goff's Henry Beebe on the show this week. And we also look forward to plenty of special guests as we build up to what's going to be a fantastic day on the 25th. So still opportunity to get those early bird tickets. Eddie has been dangling the carrots on the Twitter page. Last chance to get involved in those early bird tickets. So make sure to secure those for Gowran Park on the 25th of January. Right. In relation to this week's show, Ronan, going to be slightly different. We're going to have a quick fire round of 2024 predictions at the end, but we're going to kick it off with our selections first and foremost for episode number 8. I have to say, it was very disappointed to hear the news that Hackadoo Tabur is out for the season. So a bit of a blow for my Ante-Post portfolio, but we'll recap on all our selections at the end. Ronan Groome, the floor is yours once again. I'll give you the honour. Selection 8 for yourself is?
I've gone with 3-card Bragg. Not giving up on this Gordon Elliott beast for the National Hunt Chase, to specify. I think that's his most likely situation. Just to touch on the horse and what he's done so far, he will finish second in a red hot beginners at Fairyhouse first time out. Everyone will recall that. He was second there to Corbett's Cross, who had an advantage of race fitness on him, and he finished ahead of Nick Rocket, who's won since, and Monty's Pass, who's actually beat him since in Punchestown. I'm willing to give him a bit of there's a bit of mitigation there. Obviously, 3-card Bragg was a little disappointing, seeing as he went off, long odds on the day. The two of them pulled clear, but I don't think they went fast enough for him over the trip. I think this is a real stayer. That's been the chat about this horse all along, and I think he just got outspeeded by Monty's Pass here late on. The sectionals would kind of back that up as well. They finished out kind of in the high 110s percentage-wise of the race, so in their last 4 furlongs. So that just tells you that they were going quicker at the end of the race than they were nearly at any other time. And I don't think that suits suits Gordon's horse. I think he's a real strong stayer. And just on the impression of what he did last season, I just think this is a good horse. I saw enough last season to think, yeah, this could be a really good stayer when he gets over fences. He could be grade 1 level. Maybe he's not at that level, but the National Hunt Chase, I don't think you have to be a real solid grade 1 horse, and I think the trip will just play to his strengths. With the Ante-Post bets, as you know, Basil, you're always looking for horses. How likely are they to roll in this race? And it's either this race or the Brown Advisory. And I just think the Brown Advisory is too hot for this fella now. And I just think the National Hunt Chase suits him anyway. He could get into a nice rhythm there. The long distance would play to his strength. And like soft ground has always been a thing for him as well. It's probably going to be good to soft the first day at Cheltenham. It won't be any quicker than that. I think that'll be okay for him. And I just thought that 18-1 is a nice enhancement. There's a bit of an overreaction to him anyway, so I just wanted to throw him in the book. He's a bit of a swinger, I suppose. Could have went for a bit more solid this week, but I wanted to get a few more double-figure prices into the portfolio, and he kind of stuck out to me as one that's a little bit overpriced at the moment.
In relation to my selection, when you mentioned big prices, I'm going to have another swing this week, and I'm going down the novice hurdle route, and it's not the two races you might imagine. It's not the Ballymore, it's not the Supreme. I'm going for the Albert Bartlett. I think in recent years you see more likely race horses win the Albert Bartlett, but the horse I'm going to put up is Lecky Watson for the Albert Bartlett, and he was obviously entered up, Ronan, in the Lawlers at Naas, was due to run this week over 2.5 miles, and I was very interested to see how he would get on. 25-1. I think this is a fair price. I think he ticks many boxes for the Albert Bartlett. He's a 6-year-old. 6-year-olds have a really decent record in the race. I think 6 of the last 10 winners were age 6. He'd 5 starts in bumpers without winning a bumper. His best performance was in the champion bumper, where he finished 4th, and arguably could have finished closer to the winner on that occasion because he was completely squeezed out with a furlong to race. And if you look back at the champion bumper last year, I've been speaking about the form of this champion bumper. Obviously, the form has worked out well with Factified and Captain Teague coming out and looking really, really impressive. But this was obviously on the sharper course, the old course at Cheltenham, and not too many in the Albert Bartlett who were ridden forcefully. He was quite prominent right throughout, finished in the picture, and I thought he ran with great credit on that occasion. He's obviously been to Cheltenham. His form there is good. I think the new course, that longer stamina test, big long straight on the Friday at Cheltenham, if you got soft ground, I think he's everything you want in an Albert Bartlett horse. He has the experience. He's a dour stayer. And he jumped well on debut at Thurles. I think Paul Townend made reference to that. Not so much. You were up at Navan when he finished second, only beaten half a length by Slade Steele over 2.5 miles, where that race turned into a bit of a sprint. The race wouldn't have suited him. I thought he was a major eye catcher on that occasion. I thought he ran an absolute cracker in grade 2 company. And looking at Willie's race record as well in the Albert Bartlett, he's won 3 of the last 10. Penhill, the Nice Guy, but winning the race for Willie Mullins, and Monkfish as well. So I just think this horse ticks lots of boxes. And the Slaneyville Syndicate, it'd be lovely to see them with a Cheltenham Festival winner. Could he have got closer than 4th in the champion bumper if he wasn't absolutely sandwiched out of it, Ronan Groome?
Yeah, you're testing my memory now of the champion bumper, but I have to say I'm very envious of that selection, Basil. I've been following this horse since he made his hurdles debut there at Thurles. He beat Rushmount and Shannon Royale. Shannon Royale gave that form a boost, and that Rushmount looks interesting as well. And like you, I loved the run at Navan. I just thought he was full of scope there. I actually wrote him down as a horse to follow in our horses to follow column in the Irish Field that week. I just thought he has a lot more to offer. He was kind of stop-start, ran a bit of snatches in the straight, and just struck me as a horse back up at 3 miles that there's plenty more to come. And we will see him on Friday, hopefully, if he is redeclared for the Lawlers. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. I don't think he needs to go and run a huge race there. I think if he ran in and around and finished within 15 lengths of the winner, I think that would be a reasonably good run, and back up at 3 miles, he would be very interesting. So I think 25-1 is a more than generous price. I might even back that myself alongside 3-card Bragg once the old enhancements are put up.
And even though he didn't go on and win a bumper, I mean, I think he can draw a line through his punches down.
Wouldn't bother me in the slightest.
It wouldn't, because he's ran well in bumpers and he showed a good attitude, obviously at Thurles on his first start, and he has proven stamina over 2 miles, 7 furlongs on tough, on really testing ground down at Thurles on his first start. And I think he's taken a big step forward. And looking at the size of him, he's only going to improve for sure. And I just thought it was a massive performance in the bumper last year at Cheltenham. And that form looks strong now. And everything he's done since, in my view, would say that he's a big player for a race like the Albert Bartlett. Well, we've quick fire questions to come up in the next segment of the show. And like always, put your week 8 selections down in the comments. Make sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're really enjoying this season. We're building momentum. Tayesta's there, Red Mills Chase Day. We'll be down at both days, and Shamrock Chase Day at Gowran Park. Look forward to that. And we might have news as well of a Cheltenham preview night on the horizon as well. So lots to look forward to. We love the participation down below in the comments and all the feedback. But we're encouraging now as well. We're going to put the template after the quick fire selections. We want to know your opinions on the predictions that we have, that we're going to talk about in the next episode, next section of the show. So make sure to get your predictions down below. Leave the template down below. We've 10 questions for Ronan. He's 10 questions for me. And we'll be discussing that next.
Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Gowran is your #1 choice for corporate days out, stag and hen party events, and an overall great local racing experience. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Goffs Tayesta's Chase 2024 takes place on Thursday the 25th of January.
In the finish of the Goffs Tayesta's, invitation only, and Ruby Walsh on the near side for Willie Mullins' 7th win of the race. Invitation only has beaten Alpha's Opus.
With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit gowranpark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Eddie and the team look forward to welcoming you all to Gowran Park Racecourse this winter.
McGree had justified favouritism, but sharp object out in front will win for John McConnell and Alex Harvey.
Western victory, Silver Lord. That'll be the finishing order.
Quick fire questions time, Ronan Groome. I've 10 questions for you. You have 10 questions for me. We're going to look forward to 2024, and we want the viewers' participation down below, as we mentioned. And 30 seconds a question. Let's rattle through these, Ronan. That's why it's called quick fire. And we'll start with your questions. I have 10 for you. And the first one is in relation to Jack Kennedy. Obviously, he's 20 ahead of Paul Townend as we're speaking in the Irish Jockeys Championship. Will he win the 2024 Jockeys title?
I think he will. He's 20 ahead, as you say. He's basically where he was last season when he got injured. I think, look, I was just about to say barring injury and touch wood, no one wants that for Jack Kennedy at all. But if he can stay sound, I think he can hold that over Paul Townend. Obviously, the Jockeys Championship goes on wins, where the trainer goes on prize money. So, the quality race doesn't matter, and Jack will pick up plenty of winners for Gordon between now and the end of the season. Just like I said with Gordon and Willie going into the Punchestown Festival, obviously that's where Closutton are strongest. But if Jack can have a cushion of say 8 to 9 winners there, I think he can hold on, and I think it'd be great to see. Love to see a new name on the thing, and as mentioned, Jack's had rotten luck so far. He's having a fine season, whatever happens from now. But if he can get his hands on that trophy, I think that would be well deserved.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he's probably a better chance of winning the Jockeys title than Gordon Elliott has of winning the championship itself. Like you said, he has that cushion now, and I'm sure he'll get the support if he can stay fit. It's going to be massive. Sticking with the team, Jack Kennedy, Stayers, Hurdle. I think both will run. Irish pointer to you, Pooh. Who does he ride?
Very hard decision. I think he'd probably, in an ideal world, want Irish Point going somewhere else. I would stick with the tried and tested, personally. Teopu, I think he's a better horse than last season. Arguably, he could have won the Stayers Hurdle last season. Just didn't fall right for him in the final 2 furlongs there. Could have got a clearer run at a more important time. Finished out his race well and beaten by Sire de Burley. Not far at all. I think he's a better horse this season, and he's going there fresh, which we don't really like, but I can see why Connections are doing that. An Irish point, for all that he was so impressive at Leopardstown, it was a bit of a nonsense race now, to be honest, with the way Home by the Lead travelled, and there wasn't much in behind him either. A couple of non-stayers, likes of Mysterium Furlonge as well, making his seasonal debut. So I just slightly question that form, for all that he was impressive, and for that reason I'd stick with Teahupoo.
Next question, Ronan. I've given this one to you. County Carlow or County Meath? Obviously, Tony Martin chipped in with winners last year at the Cheltenham Festival. You have Gavin Cromwell, Gordon Elliott, Noel Meade. We even have Hewitt down in County Carlow. Could we potentially win a Gold Cup? Willie Mullins, Emmett Mullins. Who are you side him? A quick fire, Carlow or Meath?
It's a good question. I like the way you put it out there. I'd say, God, yeah. I think with Meath, with Gordon, along with Gavin Cromwell, who's having just an absolutely fine time of it at Cheltenham this season. He's had winners at every Cheltenham meeting since October. And obviously they can come back as well. He'll have different options. He likes a Stumptown. He'd be a nice option for a handicap chase, probably the Ultima. And he obviously has a decent team as well for other races as well. So alongside that with Gordon, but then as you say, Willie, we'll get on to his Cheltenham questions in your, or Cheltenham winners in your questions. I'd say just with Willie's power, I'd say he could have 6 or 7 plus chuck in maybe 1 or 2 from Emmett or elsewhere. I think he might just shade it.
I'd probably say the same thing. Let's have a look at more questions for Ronan Groome. Right, JP McManus, 4 winners last year. Can he beat his tally?
Yeah, 4 winners a fair, it's a fair level to get to. Obviously, we like we've talked plenty about what JP's horses so far. It likes Jericho the Repine, favourite for the Supreme so far. Facta File, we're a big fan of. Corbett's Cross, he'll have options, I'm sure. Different races at the festival. So he does have loads. Dino Blue as well. Where would she go? I don't know. Maybe not top class enough for the Queen Mother, and I don't know, would she have a big weight in the Grand Annual, etc. I'd say no, JP now, if I'd say it's a tough one, I'd say under, to be honest, 3 or less.
I personally think he's probably the best team of horses he's brought to the Cheltenham Festival, even given the fact that in the pocket, obviously, Iroko and Indiana Dreams, who were all novice chasers that we were all looking forward to seeing in the spring in particular. I would go and say he could equal it or better. That's the way. Then again, they're your question.
Yeah, he's always going to have handicap options as well, which is kind of hard to equate now, but he's going to have a few lines. Petit Tonnerre comes to mind, Basil. I'm sure you'd say the same.
And I've one to mention as well, maybe potentially for the Pertemps in just a moment. But Gaelic Warrior to achieve a higher novice chase rating than Galloping the Champs after Fairy House. Obviously, he tipped up at Cheltenham, Galloping the Champ, but at the beginning of his chasing career in open company, he was, rated 172. Do you think Gaelic Warrior can achieve higher?
It's 172 again. It's a fair level to get to. The Galloping the Champs got that after he'd beaten Master McShee at Dublin Racing Festival, and then he just walloped him at Fairy House. So he kind of the handicapper was able to use him as a solid mark, and he'd run Master McShee had actually run an open company before that at Navan, so he was able to get a good kind of level of where he was at, and then you could see Galloping the Champs beat him. So the cards have to fall right for you to hit that rating. So Gaelic Warrior could be that good, but you need to see it in the form, I suppose. He needs to be running against those types of horses to allow him to achieve that rating. I think he would. The Fairy House race would be a really obvious one for him to go back right-handed 2.5 miles after Cheltenham. But then what takes him on? So there's a lot to consider there. I'd say it mightn't just fall for him. If he does go on and have his perfect season, he needs the horse to run against, and that's 2 things that need to happen. So I'd say I'd go under for that.
Okay, an interesting one, Roland, is the Pressbury Cup score. We tend to discuss this certainly at the turn of the year as we're building up, and it was a question that was asked on the last 2 seasons of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Just looking at the score lines, 28 races, just for your information, 28 races, obviously the Cheltenham Festival. Ireland, 18 winners last year, 10 winners to the Brits, 10 the year before as well in 2022, and 23-5. Who'll forget that scoreline, Ronan, back in 2021? What way you call it?
I think it'll be 18-10
Okay.
Team Ireland, and I think that's might even be conservative. I just think, stronger team all round, more favourites again. I think Willie's going to have a fantastic week. I think Gordon is stronger this year. Gordon's last 2 festivals have been disappointing. There's no way around it. He's had 3 winners last season, 2 the year before. Compared to what he was having before, he was up kind of 6 or 7 level. I fancy Gordon to have at least 4 this time around, when you look at all the handicaps. And I just mentioned Gavin Cromwell earlier on as well. I think he could have a good meeting. So I think you're getting up to 18 winners there.
Jericho de Repene to place in the Supreme. I think he's incredibly short on what he's done in the race course. And I'm going to say no to this. What are you saying?
I'd say no as well. I think he's short as well. And asking me now, he has to get there. So taking in mind that he does get there, and he might even run once more before that as well. So a lot of water to go under the bridge. But I just tend to agree with you. He's just a little bit overrated on what he's achieved so far. So I'd say no to the placing.
If we could place Lay, I think it certainly would be a place Lay, certainly in terms of an anti-post look here. So Jericho de Repene, I don't think it will place in the Supreme at this point in time. We're speaking obviously on the 8th of January. Conflated to run in the cross country. Obviously, Gordon has come out, Ronan, and said that he's the best horse that he's ever seen over the banks, but he's yet to run on the racecourse.
They're just running out of time, isn't he? Really, you're looking at, you got to run probably, at least have a practice go a bit, and that would probably be the January meeting, that Banks race there. So he couldn't have to run there to just get a sighter, I suppose. I think it'd be a big ask to go straight there, for all that they've probably schooled him. And he'd be definitely in the equation in the Ryanair chase. That's where he should be running. This is a pretty silly thing to be, go into a wider debate here about how big the festival has been, and that carrot of just having a festival winner is when you should be running. This race should be a handicap, really. You shouldn't be able to run in here off level weights against these horses. And a grade 1 horse like him, he should be running in a grade 1 race. But will he run in the cross country? We'll find out, I suppose, by the end of this month. See if he's entered up in the Banks race there at the January meeting, the trials day. And if he is, then I'm sure he will be running here.
Okay, we're going to take out the obvious 4 here. Paul Townend, Jack Kennedy, Harry Cobden, and Nico de Boinville. In the without equation here, give us a jockey, Roland, that you think may well ride 2+ Cheltenham Festival winners in 2024.
Yeah, it's another good question, Basil. Like you're looking at Sean Bowen over there, but how many? If we're given the British only 8 or 9 winners or 10 winners, and obviously Nico and Harry Cobden will take up a chunk of them. You'd imagine maybe 2 each or something. It's not many more wins to go around, so I'll be sticking on this side of the Irish Sea. Likes of Michael O'Sullivan, obviously he has Marine Nationale and probably will pick up lots of nice rides and handicaps and stuff like that, I'm sure. Barry Conlon, 1 or 2
for Willie Mullins in graded races, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, he has been riding for a bit for him. Keith Donoghue, as I just mentioned, Gavin Cromwell, he had lots of options. He'll have a cross country ride. He could be on one of Gordon's as well in the cross country, which make him interesting. He's won that race before on Tiger Roll, obviously. So those 2 would be 2 I'd be looking at that could have a decent meeting. Michael Sullivan obviously already had 2 winners meeting last season. So
yeah, we didn't mention Rachel Blackmore, but I'd be more keen to side with the likes of Michael O'Sullivan or Keith Donoghue, I have to say. I think you're absolutely spot on with that once again. Right, Ronan? You're putting me into the hot seat now.
Yes, you're up, Basil. Right. Will the champion trainer, the 17-time champion trainer, will he hit the century in 2024? What do you reckon?
Well, he needs 6 winners, Ronan Groome, to hit the century. 94 winners at Cheltenham. So he needs 6. And just looking back at over the last 10 years, Willie's been the top trainer at the Cheltenham Festival on 8 of the last 10 years. And in those 8 years where he has been the top trainer at Cheltenham, he's hit 6 winners or more on 6 of those 8. So I'm going to say it could turn into an absolute burn-up this year, Ronan Groome, between Willie and Gordon, not just for the Irish Trainers' Championship, but I do think that could be I think that could be more or less put to bed after the Dublin Racing Festival. But I think in terms of Cheltenham, I think Gordon and Willie could go at it big time this year. And that's only going to be good for Close Sutton. So I think Willie will hit the 6 this year. He'll hit the century. And I'd say Willie could come down on 7 or 8 winners this year at Cheltenham. That'd be my prediction.
Okay, so he's not only breaking the 100, he's running past it as well. So you're a Ballyburn man, Basil. I think this is one of the big debates of which race for which horse so far, Ballyburn, Supreme or Ballymore. What do you think?
I've done a U-turn on it, Ronan. I think he'll run in the Supreme. I think obviously all eyes will be on the Lawlers at Naas once again. There's not very much rain forecast, which I think is more in Firefox advantage. I had Ile Atlantique down as the winner of the Lawlers at Naas, but I think, look, provided he runs well, I think Ile Atlantique could be the Ballymore horse, and I think Ballyburn, to me, Ronan, had he showed enough pace, particularly in that middle, in that third quarter of the race at Leopardstown over 2 miles and 4 furlongs. He could be quite keen, as we mentioned. Thought he jumped well. I thought he showed plenty of boot off the final bend. And I wouldn't be surprised if he rocks up in the Golden Signet, isn't it, at the Dublin Racing Festival, over 2 miles, that grade 1. And I mean, if he goes and wins that, I mean, should have gone Supreme, aren't they? That's a race won by Appreciated, Vatour, Classical Dream. The list goes on. All of them went to the Supreme.
Fair enough. Next question is kind of along the same lines. Another leading question, Basil. But will there be a British-trained novice hurdle winner? Off the top of my head, just to give the viewers and listeners some context, they're looking at the likes of Jericho de Repenay, best price British, or the shortest price British horse for the Supreme. For the Ballymore, it's now dominated by Ireland. You're looking at Gidley Park as a 16-1 shot. I know you like him as well. And for the Albert Bartlett novices hurdle, Captain Teague would possibly be the best or the shortest price British horse for that at the moment, but it's domination from the Irish trained horses there. What do you reckon? Can the Brits get one over the line in the novice hurdles?
Well, just again, another little stat in relation to that. The answer has been no in 4 of the last 10 years. So novice hurdle winners in the last 10 years for the British would have included Kilbrickenstorm, obviously won the Albert Bartlett. We had obviously Constitution Hill and Shishkin both winning the Supreme. Willoughby Court won the Ballymore, but it's been slim pickings, Ronan, over the last decade. And I suppose looking at this year, I think Gidley Park is a right old machine. And he's going to run at Cheltenham on trials weekend at the end of January. I think that's the plan. I think he'd be better in a higher quality of race. I thought he was very, very, very good. He's going to be more of a chaser, but that's the cliche with them all. I think he can shape up into the best British hope in terms of a novice hurdler at the festival. And I mean, if you're giving Lecky Watson a chance at 25-1 for the Albert Bartlett, I mean, Captain Teague did finish ahead of him in the champion bumper and obviously has won the Challow. I think the Albert Bartlett he'd have a good chance in. The Ballymore, not so much. So they're probably, to me, the biggest. I couldn't have Jericho de Repenay at that sort of price. I'm sorry. Willmount on nicer ground over 2 miles. Is he one you give another chance to? I personally, I think we're against the wind now. We're playing against the wind, and when it comes to Willmount for a Supreme, but I mean, I think he's a talented horse, and I think he'd have a chance on nicer ground in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. I have to say, but Gidley Park for me is probably the best British novice hurdler that we've seen this season.
Okay, we'll see how he gets on. Next question, one for the breeding fraternity. Walk in the Park, could he sire 2+ Cheltenham Festival winners in 2024? Just another bit of information on him. The recent National Hunt sale towards the end of last year, the Walk in the Parks and the Blue Brezels were all the rage with breeders or buyers even. I think they had a massive stat of, I think 37 of the first 50 were bought at that sale, at the Tarsall sale, were Blue Brezels or Walk in the Park. So it just goes to show you the way the trend is going. Basil, what do you reckon? Maybe you can rhyme off some of his best chances and whether he can get 2 across the line at the festival.
Yeah, well, again, it's very, very interesting because looking at sires, and I went back over the last 3 Cheltenham festivals, Ronan, and looking at sires in the last 2 years, I mean, only one sire in the last 2 years had 2 or more winners. So it was a pretty even playing field if you're into your pedigree. But looking back 3 years ago, Jeremy went to town. He'd 4 winners. Stowaway went to town. He'd 4 winners. And Yates had 4 winners. Obviously, Floating Porter by Yates, won the Stayers Hurdle in that season, and Yates had 4 more winners. So I think this year we could see something similar. It could be Walk in the Park. I'm going to say we'll have, I'm going to predict the number. I'm going to say he's going to sire 3 Cheltenham Festival winners this year. I think, looking at the quality, obviously John Bon Ashrow Diamond, high in the betting for Champion Chase and Mayor's Hurdle. Obviously their progeny of Walk in the Park. Facile Vega, he's disappointed. He's on a recovery mission. Nick Rocket, an interesting player in the National Hunt Chase, I would say. Limerick Lace, Jatara, Croke Park, Monty Star, Giovinco, Down Memory Lane, Gidley Park, and your favourite horse over the intermediate novice hurdle trip, Firefox. So that's some booking. We're not even mentioning horses in the handicaps, etc. But he's leading the way at the moment, Roland, Walk in the Park in terms of winners. 88 winners he's sired this season. He finished 4th last year. He's the sire on the up, and if you're following his progeny, I reckon you're going to be in the winners' enclosure on more than a couple of occasions this Cheltenham.
Yeah, very much so. All the rage, as I said. Obviously, Blue Brezel is a bit more new on the scene. He's obviously Constitution Hill is his poster boy, along with Blue Lord and like the Royal Pagaille, but maybe a bit too soon for him to be dominating like Walk in the Park might do or get to that level. But we go on to your final or 2 questions. No, sorry, we're not even 3 questions left. 1 horse you're taking on, Basil, but it has to be in the top 3 in the market. You've already stated you don't like Jericho de Repine, so who else are you hoping to take on in the current Cheltenham Ante-Post markets? Well,
I'm going to take on Doyle Sardinas because obviously she's going to be campaigned that she's going to get. Obviously, she's not going down to grader. She's going to get a little bit of weight, perhaps, off some of her nearest market rivals. But I just think that division is red hot. I mean, Brighter Days Ahead was a horse that I had a massive respect for last year in the Gigginstown Six. That's top of the market. We've only seen it once this season. Jade de Gruge, I mean, I was thinking of doubling up with Only by Night in this particular division, and she just was so impressive over 2.5 miles. Gorgeous set of lugs on her. She settles, she jumps, she stays. A lovely attitude. And that was a really good race with Butcher Hollow. They took each other on, I think, 10 hurdles, we said, to jump. They're already entering the back straight and it turned into a race. I thought that was really, really good form. She's going to the Sol Arena, I think David Casey said afterwards. That would probably be the likely destination. Only by Night, I think, is an absolute cracker. She'll probably go there as well. And we haven't even mentioned the likes of Fun. The Irish have a serious hand in that race, and I would be taking her on. I don't think she'll win at the Cheltenham Festival. That's Doyle Sardinas. But I'm sure there'll be plenty throwing stones in the...
Yeah, you're right. I take your point. The race does look very deep in quality. I was quite impressed with these Doyle Sardinas, I have to say, at Cheltenham. I thought the way she jumped and the way she quickened away from a couple of nice mares as well. I thought she was good. Now I can see why she's top of the market. But I take your point. It is a deep race. I like Jade. I did back Jade de Gruge this week, I must admit as well. So there you go. Cheltenham double, Basil, 24-25. Interesting. So one to win this festival and next year's festival as well.
Yeah, I will have to ask Boylesports for a price on this because I think Factifile will win the Brown Advisory this year. And I think he's going to be a serious player for the Gold Cup. I think he's very, very good. Could be a special horse. And yeah, if you were to ask me for one at this point in time for a 2024-2025 double, let's get a price. We'll ask Boylesports and maybe get a price up on the website for next week. Factifile to do the double. Brown Advisory and Gold Cup.
Interesting. I suppose your other option there would be something like Marine Nationale, Arkle kind of Champion Chase angle there, I suppose. What do you reckon? No.
Marine Nationale. Okay, Christmas is over. I don't know. I'm not having it just yet.
Where would horses like Ballyburn and Firefox end up, do you reckon, future wise? Are they Stonewall chasers that are you're going to be looking at Arkle and Turners for them next year?
Arkle for Ballyburn. And what was the other one you mentioned? Firefox?
The Firefox.
The Firefox.
Bear in mind, he's a bumper horse now, I think, wasn't he? He didn't come from that mindset. Last question. A handicap option. I'll throw one in after you, actually.
No, I'll give you the honours, actually. Go on, go for it.
So I don't know if this horse is going to go for a handicap per se at Cheltenham, but I am after Christmas. He was a non-runner in the Paddy Power, and if you recall, I was a big fan of him on our Cheltenham preview. This is Chemical Energy. I am convinced this horse is a whopper of 147. I don't know what he's going to be in Britain, but maybe a couple of pounds higher here and there. But he did run a national hunt chase last season, so I don't think he'd be too much higher. I backed him for the Grand National this week at 66-1. If he ran at something at Cheltenham, it might be like the Ultima or something like that, but I don't know what they might do with him. Maybe if they could campaign him as a Grand National horse, they wanted to do that, they could run him at Fairy House or something like that, but he needs a decent surface. This is the key thing. He was pulled out of the Paddy Power because of the soft ground, but I'm convinced there's a big race in him off 147, so he's my handicapper to follow for the rest of the season. Perhaps not Cheltenham per se, but if he did run him in Cheltenham handicap, I think he'd be really interesting.
There's a horse I want to mention. He's not qualified for the race yet. I'm seeing prices at 20-1 available for a horse called Chantry House, Ronan, who's 10 years of age now. And if they went to Pertemps route with this horse and got a little bit of nicer ground, I just think it could be unexposed over hurdles. He achieved the rating of obviously of 155 over fences, but I just think off 145 he could be well treated. He'll get in off a nice enough weight in the Pertemps should he qualify. Maybe they can get him down another couple of pounds. I mean, he's been dropped 2 pounds for his performance last time at Sandown, and it was really testing, but really heavy ground, you might remember, at Sandown in that Pertemps qualifier on the 9th of December. But I thought he ran a really good race behind. He finished 13 lengths behind Buddy One. He was an eye catcher. When I say he ran a really good race, he was an eye catching run. And the newest one was second. Buddy One was a winner, a runaway winner on that occasion. He's got up plenty. And Chantry House has come down in the weight since. He's only had 2 runs over hurdles this year. Nicky was quite, I thought, positive about him, certainly in his stable tours at the start of the year, that he was looking better, and they thought he was in a lot better form this year. He's 10 years of age. He's only had 17 starts in his life. And I just thought Chantry House, if they're to get him qualified for the Pertemps, might have a nice weight, and I thought could be an interesting player. I know he's 10 years of age, but Nicky obviously has won this race with Call the Cops in the past. Mill Green placed in it for 2 of the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, very much so. I can't disagree with you there. Chantry House, interesting. Loves those Pertemps options as well.
He needs to be qualified, obviously, but just to note, obviously they're talking points, 2024 predictions. We'll put the question templates down below. We want to know your view. We want to know we want to get discussion going in the comments, as we always do. So put your selections in down below for week number 8, and let us know what you think about our predictions, and give us your own predictions in the comments down below. We look forward, Ronan, to really getting a forum going down below as we. I suppose we're well into the new year now, but it's I think it's a nice little segment we added this week, and plenty up for discussion.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll if any write in your opinions what you feel strongly about, and we'll have both of us, Basil, we'll vow now to have a conversation back and see if we can get a bit of chat going, and always enjoy to do that anyway. So if you write down what you reckon, whether you think what I said was absolute baloney, or Basil's talking is that usual smack, call it out, and we can have a little chat down below in the forum and get a bit of crack going.
Absolutely. Well, that has been episode number 8. We do hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to hit the video a good thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We look forward to building up this week. This week, of course, it's Tiesta's Day. Henry Beebe will be on the show on Thursday, along with more special guests. And our Tiesta's preview, Ronan, will be out on Tuesday, the 23rd. So 2 days beforehand, obviously, we'll have decks, and we're going to do a full Tiesta's blockbuster preview. So we look forward to that as well. And once again as well, congratulations to Paddy Pacer, who was the winner of our competition for a Racing Stay package at the Tiesta's Chase, staying in Langton's, Ronan Groome. I'm sure he'll have a sore head on Friday after the Tiesta's. So look forward to next week already, Ron. Hopefully we'll have a lot more clues, and continue to get your portfolios down below. We will be back to the same format, back to our more traditional format next week. We'll be reviewing portfolios, answering big questions, and the tracker horse as well, Ronan Groome. That's something that we'll get back to next week. So look forward to it, and we shall see you next Monday.